What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today we'll be doing a technical analysis breakdown for UnitedHealth Group Incorporated, ticker symbol UNH. This was a viewer's request, and thank you for your donation. I will first be going over what I see on the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. So let's take a look at the daily chart for UNH. First impressions are that there was this huge sell-off that occurred. Price was overextended, and now we're just pulling back to relieve some of this overextension in the market. So that's basically what's happening so far. So let's analyze the technicals. You can see that price reached all the way down to the 250 level, but did not stay there for a long time. So there's some buying pressure there. Price shot up all the way to the 323 level before correcting lower towards the 290 level. So we have a nice impulse up illustrated by this arrow right here. And then we have a nice little correction down as illustrated by this arrow right here. So we have one arrow up and then we have one arrow down. So now we are stuck between two trend lines. We have this bearish trend line in play, price is below and respecting. And then we have a bullish trend line in play that price is above and respecting. So it's basically an equilibrium going on. The volatility is compressing between these two trend lines. So it's like a, you could say a pendant formation, something like this, where we have a flagpole and then support and resistance trend lines, and then a potential breakout higher. It's not guaranteed to break out higher. You have to look at the context. The context is that we have an overextension in the market, a nice flagpole at a key support zone. So if I zoom out, where did price go to in historical sense? What level did it hit previously? It hit this zone right here. There's a lot of support here. This was prior resistance, struggling to get above, resistance, turned into support, and then it rallied higher. And now we're back at the same level once again, the 280 level. So strong support, overextension, a nice move up higher. It can lead to a second leg up. So let's say we have bottomed and we're on our way higher. If price does break out higher, which should be soon, looks like the pendant is converging very soon. Probably this week we break out. If it breaks out, we can reach the 364 level. However, like I said before, it's still a bearish trend line in play. We could still break down lower, and that would take price down towards the 276, 275 level. So I'd say if price does break down lower, we hit the 275. If price breaks up higher, it's going to be headed towards the 364, 365 level. Who knows which way it will break out? I don't think anyone can tell the future. If you can, then we would have multi-trillionaires easily. So no one knows which way it's going to break out. But I would say, looking at the context, we are at strong support. We're still a little bit overextended from the EMA. We're not below this downward trend line anymore. So there was this downward trend line in play. Price is no longer below it. So that's showing signs of strength by the bulls. So if you include everything together, looking at the price action, looking at the market structure, it looks like it's more than likely than not, price breaks out higher out of this consolidation pattern that we're seeing. But, if it does break down lower, it does break down lower. It was just a lower probability of occurring. Sometimes that happens, even reading the chart. So I would say that's what's happening on the chart. It's just basically an overextension after it crashed down, overextension in the market where we are consolidating, looking for a potential leg up higher. But if the bears are really strong, we may see that breakdown lower first. I would still say it's a good chance we break out higher from here towards the 364, 365 level. But if we do move down or break down lower, then I would say the next leg up would just start from there. I don't expect price to just continue trending down lower and get like a double bottom or something like this. I don't expect that. I think that's a lower, very low probability. Maybe like a 10%. I would say it's probably a 50, 60% chance we break out higher from here, and maybe a 20, 30% chance we move down lower and then move up higher, and then probably another like 5 to 10% chance we just continue dropping down lower in the future. I don't envision that occurring. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Let's move all the drawings, keep it simple. So here's a look at the weekly chart, and there was this prior consolidation in play. You can see that the range lows were very consistent, right around that 433 level, range highs right around 605. And then once price broke out of the range, we basically doubled this original size of it. So this range, you can drag it down and then the prior lows become the midline of the new range, and that's basically exactly where price bounced off of. So if this is range rules, we could come back all the way to the breakout point of the 430s. So let's see what happens. Definitely overextended on the weekly chart. I don't normally use the RSI, but I just want to show you guys something. You just put RSI up here, and the strength that this crash had only occurred back in 2008. That was the last time it occurred. Obviously, it occurred before in like '06, but the most recent time that we have seen a drop this large in magnitude of this much strength was back here in 2008. So you can see that where the price is, where the RSI is on the scale at 27. There was a 27 back over here in 2008. So it's definitely something extraordinary. It's not something that normally occurs. And as right now, it looks like it's just consolidating for a potential breakout soon. And then you could go to the monthly chart. And there's one more thing you could draw, which is a trend line. You can see that you draw a trend line off this swing to this swing. You drag it across. That's exactly where price bounced in 2020, the crash. And that's exactly where price is holding off of the trend line still again, the same angle. So you draw this angle here, we bounced here, and now we bounced here. So we have a horizontal support, a trend line support, overextended, consolidating for a potential breakout. I would say it's more likely than not we break out higher. But again, if it does move down lower, it does move down lower. No one knows what's going to happen. You just have to watch what happens and then go based on that. So as more data comes into the market, we can have a better idea of what's going to happen. So that's all I see for UNH on the daily and weekly charts. This is a Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.